Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be learning how to make two different types of mashed potatoes. We're going to be making smashed potatoes that are a little more rustic and go with a casual meal, and then mashed potatoes that are a little more bougie and nice and might work for a little bit more of a formal meal. So we're going to start out with the mashed potatoes, and this is going to start out with 5 pounds of russet potatoes, and we're peeling these so that the skins aren't going to be in them. About a tablespoon of salt, and that is not to go in the potatoes, that is going to go in the boiling water. We're going to use heavy cream for this. This is not a low-cal recipe. A half a cup to a cup of milk, a stick of butter, a half teaspoon of salt, and we're using white pepper for this because we're not looking to add any color to the potatoes. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to peel the potatoes with a peeler or a paring knife. And the important thing to remember when you are peeling is that the peeler actually works in two directions, and you're going to learn your own method, but typically I peel the ends first and then peel the middles. And like I mentioned, the peeler works in both directions. I don't normally utilize that with potatoes, but for things like carrots, that's important to know. But that also helps if your peeler is getting super dull, that you can use it in the other direction, or if you're left-handed as well. But I usually peel a couple potatoes and then cut them. You can see that method I'm talking about with peeling the both ends and then peeling the middle and just rotating it around to get the middle parts peeled. If you have any bad spots or anything, you can remove those after you have peeled them with a paring knife or with your chef knife as you cut them. But you're going to cut them in half or thirds, and you don't want the pieces to be thicker than about an inch. And then you are going to turn them 90 degrees and cut them into about 1-inch chunks. So cut that in half and then cut it into 3 or 4 pieces, and then just drop those into a colander as you go. Potatoes grow in the dirt, and yes, I washed these before I peeled them, but just as a final insurance policy, I will usually just take those and wash them off after I have cut them, before I put them in the boiling water, just to make sure that I don't have any remaining dirt or anything on the potatoes. And you're just going to repeat that process for your remaining potatoes, making sure that you get out any bad spots. And some of the bad spots might be in the middle of the potatoes, so look out for those as you go as well. If your cutting board is sliding, put a damp rag underneath it to keep it from sliding. So as I mentioned before, after you get all those done, you're going to rinse those in the colander, pour them into a pot, cover the potatoes completely with water, add about a tablespoon of salt to that boiling water, and put it on the stove to bring to a boil. So once they come to a boil, you're going to set a timer for about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how hot your stove gets. At about 10 minutes, you're going to start checking them. If a fork goes into them easily, they're good to go. As you can see, these are red potatoes. I just filmed this part for the red potato portion of it. But if that fork slides in easy, then you can stop the boiling process and you're solid. So then you're just going to take those potatoes, drain them in that same colander after you've rinsed it out, and put them into a large bowl. Then you are going to use a hand mixer to break up the potatoes. And this is an important thing to start out with, because if you do not do this step before you add anything in, this is where we're getting the chunks out. This is going to be what gets your smooth potatoes. The more lumps you get out at this stage, the smoother your final potatoes will be. So this is kind of where you decide whether you want these to have a couple lumps in them to convince people that you use real potatoes, or whether you want to get them completely smooth. Because once you start adding your other ingredients, you're not going to be able to get those lumps out of the potatoes. So whatever lumps are in there are going to be sticking around. And this just takes a little bit of time to get all those little lumps out of there. And then we are going to add a stick of butter. And it helps if this butter is already softened. As I mentioned, these are not a low-fat dish. This is something that's a special occasion dish. If you are wanting to do this in a more low-fat way, you can definitely reduce the amount of butter that you're using and use just regular low-fat milk. That's definitely a way to lower the fat in this. And then you're going to add your salt and pepper, and then add your whipping cream or milk until your desired consistency is reached. You can make these as rich or as not rich as you would like them to be. So you do want to make them a little looser than you want your final product to be, because they are going to tighten up over time. They get more and more thick the longer they sit. So by the time you get them to the table and onto the plates, they're going to be thicker than they are at this stage. So do make them looser than you think you will need in the end. So that's just something that you need to be aware of with any of your mashed potato products. You also don't want to overbeat these because they will get gummy. And that is what your final product looks like. After this stage, you can just go ahead and serve those. So now we are going to remind you to subscribe, because if you would like more videos like these to make foods from scratch and learn a little bit more about the reasons why you do things when you were cooking your food, hit that subscribe button. So now we're going to go with the smashed potatoes, which are a little more rustic, and it's a little bit more opportunity to personalize these as well. We're going to go real basic, and you can customize as much as you would like to. We're going to just give you the base recipe, but we're leaving the skins on these. We're using black pepper with this. It's a much simpler recipe in terms of just keeping with the basics. The other thing we're doing with this is that we are going to use evaporated milk, because we are going to be using some shelf-stable products. So you're going to start out with 5 pounds of red potatoes, and we are not even going to worry about peeling those. We are going to be cutting them up, but you're also going to be using that salt in the boiling water, a stick of butter, and then salt in the seasoning, and you can use regular black pepper for these. So using a paring knife or the end of your peeler, you want to remove any eyes or bad spots from the potatoes. Those are just the little spots that you see where a little bit of the white growing part is in there. This particular batch had a whole lot of eyes in them. I think they've been around for a little bit longer. And so you just want to pop all of those out and make sure that they are out of your potatoes. Then, just like we did before with the cutting process, you're going to cut them in half or thirds if the pieces are going to be thicker than about 1/2 inch. And then you just cut that piece into about 1-inch pieces and cut those into chunks and throw those in the colander. Once again, we have washed these, but we are going to rinse them again before we put them in the pot, just to make sure that we've gotten everything off of those that we can. You're going to repeat that process with the rest of your potatoes, cutting them into chunks, and continue to look in the middle of those potatoes and looking at the chunks to make sure that you don't have any bad spots in the middle. Then you are going to rinse those in a colander once again, and this is a little bit more important with the red potatoes just because we're leaving the skins on those. You're going to add those to a pot and then cover them with water. And we're adding the salt again and bringing them to a boil. And we are testing for doneness the same way we did with the others, by just poking them with a fork. And if that fork slides in easily, we are good to go. So just poke those in, and if that fork just goes right in there, it should not be difficult at all to go in there. So if it is giving you any resistance at all, the potatoes are not going to mash. So it's important to make sure that that fork just slides right in. After that, you're going to drain your potatoes and add them right back to the pot that you cooked the potatoes in, or to a bowl, whatever works. And then we are going to add the butter and mash them with the potato masher. We are not worrying as much this time about chunks, because that is part of what smashed potatoes are. We're not looking for this smooth, even texture. This is pretty close to just what a baked potato would be, just a little bit chunkier. So we're just not as worried about when we add the ingredients. And this is a little bit more manual labor, but it definitely is a great way to get aggressions out. The biggest thing is making sure you get all the way down to those corners. So you might have to kind of move them around a little bit, and then you're going to add your salt and pepper. We are using black pepper this time because this is a little bit more of a rustic dish than the mashed potatoes. And then once you've gotten them mashed up a little bit, you are going to add evaporated milk and continue mashing those around until your consistency is about right. We're going to add half of it to begin with and see what your consistency looks like. That's about 1.5 cups in a regular can, but keep on adding it until your consistency is correct. I ended up needing the entire can for this amount of potatoes. And once again, these are going to tighten up over time, so you are going to want to make them looser than what you want your final product to be. Because and you will definitely be surprised how much they will get thicker. They will be almost a completely different product than you started out with. The biggest thing is, don't forget to taste these and adjust your seasoning. Potatoes take a whole lot of seasoning, and it's going to take more than you think that you need. So always taste these at the end of the process for both the mashed and the smashed, and then adjust your seasoning. So your final products for both of these end up being super, super pretty and are great for different types of situations. And for the smashed potatoes, you can add things like garlic or cheese just to change up the flavors and the look of them. This is just a reminder that we do have our 2 membership levels, and we would love to have you join those to build our community. But if you are unable to do that, completely understand it. But please click that subscribe button. It is completely free, and we would love to have you, and we will see you next week.